So we are back. I'll again wait for Mike. We haven't got many questions left, but I wanted to finish with the questions and also to answer one question that we had in the end of the previous live. Madina, for you, glorious mom, to tone down means to say it in a like smoother way, so not to use the same curse word, but to say it milder. That's what he meant. Смягчить in Russian. Hey, Mike, you're back. You're back. How can I invite you? Oh, no, I cannot invite you. Can you request? Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, here we go. Thank you for coming back. Yeah,
I think the sound is better too.
Is it? Yeah.
I think the sound is better.
We don't have many questions left, but actually in the end of the previous live, there was one question like, if you are invited to governmental assignments, but you are 100% against the government, would you accept such an assignment?
Yeah, I mean, for that question in particular, I would say yes, but there are some things maybe if morally, let's say that, okay, let's say some, you know, because of my convictions, I'm a Christian. If something went against my Christian values, I would most definitely refuse for that type of assignment. But if it was political, I believe in political liberty, freedom of speech. I believe that it's good to express both sides of the aisle, if I can say so, or any side of the aisle for that matter, depending on what, like in this country, we have many different political parties. In the States, they have two. So I believe in free speech, and I think that we should be allowed to speak our freedom of speech, freedom of religion. And so, yeah, I would definitely interpret for a political party, even though it wasn't my favorite political party. But I definitely would not interpret an assignment if it went totally against my Christian values. Yeah.
And one question I thought about is, for example, if you agree with a client that you need to work for 1 hour or 2 hours, I don't know, or a whole day of 8 hours, but then they go for like overtime, will you charge them more for that? Will it be like double charge, or how do you usually agree?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's say, like, I'll give an example on RSI. We had agreed to do a 3-hour assignment for a certain amount, and because of technical difficulties, they went over 1 hour. And we had agreed in the contract, was stipulated in the contract to get $100 more for every hour. Actually, after the first 10 minutes of being overtime, a full hour would be charged. In this case, it was $100 an hour. So yes, when there is overtime, I usually do stipulate that. If I have my own private clients, I will stipulate something like that in the contract. And it depends from client to client. I think that as freelance interpreters, we have to be flexible. There is certain flexibility, I have very good clients that will tell me what the budget is, and they'll just ask me, is this good for you? And if it's reasonable, I'll say, yeah, okay, it's a bit low, but I understand, okay. And some other times I've actually given a quote that was lower than their very own budget. And because I have a good friendship with my clients, they'll say, hey, Mike, you know what? You had a low bid, but we're going to give you the full budget. So here's a bit more.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's give and take. Honestly, it's give and take.
Right. Cool. There was one more question. Finish with the live and reconnect to live to avoid errors. All right. Yeah. About solo interpreting, Glorious Mom, we've already discussed it, so you can then rewatch.
I do accept those. Yeah.
So yeah, Mike accepts it. Well, I think I don't have any more questions to you.
Well, maybe some of the viewers have questions. Anybody on this?
Yeah, if you have time. Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's ask. Let's wait for some questions. And I'll just mention in the meantime that I've learned how to save, how to download these lives, and I can now upload them to IGTV, and they stay there forever. So I will download these lives as well, and they will be in IGTV. I do that.
I find that when I do a live for the, you know, when the IG kicks you out, when you're kicked out, you don't have the option to save.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. If you are kicked out, you cannot.
You have to log out before the end of the time to have the option to download.
Yeah. So you have to save it in your stories. So it will be kept there for 24 hours. And during these 24 hours, you have to download it. And you can download it on your laptop. So you have to go to Instagram.com from the laptop. You cannot do it from your phone, only laptop, like computer or laptop. And you can download it. And then you can upload it to IGTV also from your computer, because from your mobile phone you can't upload anything more than 10 minutes to IGTV. But from computer you can do it up to 60 minutes.
That's why. Okay, I didn't know that. See, that's interesting. See, we learn something new every day, right?
It took me some time to actually get to know all these things. Yeah, I've done it for like half a day. I spent trying different applications, because there are some applications that you can download, like apps, phone apps. You can download them from Google Play or whatever if you use iPhone, from iTunes.
Yeah.
But some of them don't work, so you download them, but they don't do the job you need. Like, they don't.
Actually, I've been trying. I did our first hour. I recorded with my iPhone application.
Right.
And I'm going to see. I don't know if it worked well. I just recorded the first hour, so I'll see if that works out. But it seems to work. So, are you having? You're in the morning right now, right? What time is it now?
Yeah, it's now 9 a.m. Yeah.
9 a.m.
9 o'clock. Yeah, 7 minutes past 9.
A full day of work ahead of you?
Yeah, I actually don't have much work today. So I'll probably do some of. Sometimes I do some written translation. So I have a small translation I have to finish. I don't do a lot of translation normally, like pre-quarantine time. I do only interpretation, but this quarantine forced us into.
So are you in quarantine? Are you in quarantine right now? Are you quarantined right now? Are you in quarantine right now?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, until May 11, we are in quarantine. Yeah. And what about Canada?
Yes, we're it's not very strict. You know, like I can go out when I want to go to the supermarket to buy food. You know, but we wear gloves, we wear the mask. You know, we keep our social distancing. We're told to go back home afterwards, but you know, there's no police stopping anybody or putting anybody in prison there. You know, there's nothing serious like that yet. Here in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, they're talking about slowly opening up. I know that the supermarkets have always been open, but you know, some of the businesses, construction has started slowly this week, and next week it's going to be opening up even more. And then in the same dates as you, the major stores should be opening up again, supposed to, but they keep bringing it back. So I don't know. You know? Yeah,
it will depend on the new incidents that you have. Yeah, the same with us. Yeah, so starting from the May the 4th, they opened up some businesses already, like hairdressers, I think, and some others, and some shops as well, like single shops, not in the big malls, but just single standing shops. And from May 11, there will be more businesses opening up. Yeah, but we could always go to the supermarkets, to grocery stores to buy some food and stuff, wearing gloves and masks. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
So, are there any more questions, people?
Come on, people. Wiki.
Questions? Well, we have Mike. So probably people in Kazakhstan are still waking up, just waking up. But if you have some questions, so Glory's mom is writing now. Michael saved his life. What a fruitful chat with Kazakh interpreters.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I appreciate it. You know what? What's really funny is that you know, normally my followers, if I could call them like that, are more, you know, American, Canadian, you know. But I find very strangely now, for some time now, I'd say about, I don't know, about 2 months or so, I've been getting a lot of Russians, and you know, it's funny because I don't understand Russian, right? So they'll send me a message in Russian, and I copy paste it into Google Translate.
Google.
And then I read it, and then I write in French or English, and I put it in Google Translate, transfer it into Russian, send it, and then they write back to me, oh, you speak Russian. No, I don't speak Russian. I just use Google Translate.
Yeah. And actually, do you believe that in certain time we will be replaced by this automatic translation devices like machine translation?
I don't think so. I know that's a big discussion. Not in our lifetime. Not in your lifetime or my life. I don't think there'll ever be I think that interpreters will become better interpreters using technology to assist them. I'm hearing a lot, like I'm very curious as to how speech to text technology is going to work, and how text to speech technology is going to be working. So that's going to be very interesting. I think that that's going to help us. Let's say an application where it's listening to the conference speaker, and you're getting a transcript of what's being said, right? So the terminology would be coming up on the screen. Like, for example, I had a very great experience when I was interpreting for a deposition, a legal deposition, where I had the privilege of working with a stenographer. Actually, it was called a simultaneous stenographer.
Right.
And that stenographer can type faster than I can talk.
That's true.
She had a computer in front of her, typing everything that was being said, what I said, what the legal team was being said. And I said to that person afterwards, I said, wow, I said, that would have been really useful to have a monitor screen of what you're writing. And she said, oh, you should have asked me. I would have given it to you. So I found out that day that those simultaneous stenographers, they can link you up, because I was across the table on the other side. They could have linked me up with a monitor screen to see everything that was being typed, everything that was being said. And that would have been very useful. So, but still, that was a human writing.
Yeah, that was a human.
Right? So there's no mistakes, or very few mistakes. We all know that, artificial, even Google, when you talk into your phone, sometimes it doesn't catch the words, right? So that mistake still happens. And I think in some cases, especially in translation cases, that's too dangerous. Too risque to have the wrong terminology, right? So, but honestly, for me, like example, one way that I do use technology, especially in the booth, is when I'll get materials, either I'll get a Word document, or a lot of times I'll get a PDF document, right? Yeah. So I'll convert the PDF document to text, and then put text through a CAT tool, translation tool. Yeah. And for me as an interpreter, I don't need to have the exact wording, right? So I don't care for editing the text. All I'm looking for is the terminology, right? So even if the phrase is not in the right order, I'm quick enough to read and find my terminology translated with the CAT tools. So I'll use CAT tools or Google Translate sometimes, even if sometimes in the booth last minute I'll get something. I'll even use my iPhone and I'll take a picture. And I'll do text recognition, and I'll do a quick translation through a CAT tool. So that's been very useful. So technology is very helpful that way. Is it going to replace us? No, not in the near future. Right. I don't think so.
Okay, I fully agree with you. So we have some Peruvian followers and Venezuelan followers too. Yeah, hi guys, nice to meet you and see you here. Yeah, I missed the beginning of the talk question. Did you have formal interpreting training? Well, we can quickly cover that.
Quickly, I'll just say I have no formal training. I have no linguistic training. And you know what? I used to be very shy of admitting that because I didn't want to be judged. But now, after 20 years of experience, after working with linguistics people that have the great degrees, it's not because you have a degree that you're a very great interpreter, okay? And you can be an awesome interpreter without having any linguistic education per se. So that being said, I respect both. We have to respect each other. And I like to say that I have a degree in results. So I may not have a degree on paper, but I have a degree in results, and my paycheck is proof. So my clients, they like my work. They call me back, and they don't ask me if I have a linguistics degree. They just ask me, can you interpret? You know,
Yeah,
and
can you
obviously,
interpret?
if the assignment would go bad and they get a bad review, they won't call me back. But they call me back, so I guess that's all that counts, right?
Mhm.
That's all that counts.
Yeah, yeah. So the returning client is an indicator whether you're good or not.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Do, do you think interpreters should learn stenography?
No,
What
I
is
don't
it?
think that's necessary.
Yeah, no, it's not. I
No.
also think.
And
Have you
right.
tried DeepL?
Yes, I use
For
that. I use it.
translation?
I find it does a pretty good job. Between that, honestly, using Google Translate or even DeepL or you know, for I like to use for terminology. I like to use Lingua. That's my favorite application. Then
Right.
I'll use.
Okay.
We have Termium here in Canada. It's like recognized, you know, provincial, federal translation tool that we have called Termium. But I don't use it. I prefer Lingua because it gives you context. You type in a word, and it'll give you context, not just a word. And it'll even give you comparisons. And it'll even give you, if you don't type in the right spelling of the word, it'll correct it for you. So that's very important. So I find that Lingua does a good job. But honestly, I use Google Translate. I use Lingua. I use DeepL. I'll use DeepL when I'm prepping ahead of time and I have the documents. I'll pass it through DeepL because you could use up to 5,000 characters. So that's about the equivalent of about a page of written text. So I'll do you know, cat tool translation with that, and I'll use that as a rough copy for my studies for you know, terminology or glossaries and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a good question. What else?
Okay. There was, I think, before that, there was an invitation for you from Glorious Mom to come to Kazakhstan and to arrange some
I'd love
exchange.
to go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's great.
there's a,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know them. I think Cosine.
Uh,
Are they called Cosine or Cosin?
what is it?
I think it's a Russian. I believe it's a Russian competition. They have a
Cosinus. Yeah, cosinus P.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's it.
cosinus P.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen
it's a
them.
competition.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. What else?
Yeah.
Yeah, Reverso. I use Reverso. Yes, I do.
Reversal.
Rather than Lingua.
What would be your recommendation for the beginners like interpreters to maybe start practicing? What sort of resources they can use, like, I don't know, speech repository, or just use the TED Talk videos or something?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly, you said it. The speech repository is very good. I've used it, and what's good with the speech repository is that you can select your level. You have like beginner, intermediary, expert. You have 10-minute speeches to 15, 20-minute speeches. You have on political. You have you know, cultural. All types of you know, different topics that you can choose from. TED Talks are great because they're very dynamic. They usually last 10, 15 minutes. It's perfect. Personally, I like to do shadowing. I shadow the radio. I listen to a good radio station that has a good quality of language, you know, documentary type of discussions. And so I'll just repeat back and forth in my A language, back and forth. I'll just repeat the same thing in the same language. And some other times in my B language, I'll do the same thing, just repeating back and forth. When I'm listening to TV, I'm always interpreting in my head. When I'm listening to the radio, I'm interpreting in my head. It's like I go to bed and I'm interpreting in my head, you know. So it becomes automatic. But to definitely practice the mirroring, or some people call it mirroring, some people call it shadowing.
Yeah. Shadowing, mirroring,
Yeah, I said at the beginning of the first hour, I said that's very important. If you want to try being an interpreter, try first of all mirroring. If you can mirror a radio discussion for 10, 15 minutes without stopping, there's a good chance you might be a good interpreter if you can do that in both languages. And then after that, start interpreting. I'll listen to the radio in French and I'll interpret in my mind in English. If I'm listening to English, I'll be interpreting into French. So I'm constantly, you know, consciously and unconsciously interpreting every day.
Right. Do you get like nervous, anxious before each assignment you do?
Oh yeah. I get the what I call butterflies. You know, you kind of get nervous. It's like, yeah. But usually after the first 5 minutes, it goes away.
Yeah.
You're in. I call it in the zone. You know, and it goes very well. And if you start sweating, you know.
Do you have some techniques how to like overcome it? Maybe to drink a little bit of water or start breathing or something?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, I like to say that before I come into an assignment, some people call it meditating. I call it praying. You know, I'll pray. I'll pray for the grace of God. I'll, you know, pray that I be calm in my attitude and my spirit. There's this beautiful Bible verse that I like to use. It says that I have the tongue of and the skill of a skillful writer. So I kind of have this mantra, this prayer where I declare to myself that I have the tongue like the pen of a skillful writer. And I kind of use that. That's like my theme verse in the Bible, right? But when I'm in the booth, it's very important for young interpreters to understand this. You cannot cry over spilt milk. I don't know if that's an expression.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
But when an accident happens, you lose a train of thought, you lose a word. It's very important not to panic. If you panic in that situation, what's going to happen is that you'll lose the rest of the conversation. So when you know that you're in a panic situation, you've lost a word or two, completely forget it. Boom. Start over where you are right now on that word. And most of the time anyways, the few words that you have lost, the listener may not even notice. Just skip it. Don't cry. Don't sweat. Don't panic, because when you panic, you start to stutter. You start to forget. You start to stress out. And I think that honestly, that has been the most important tool for me, especially in the beginning, not being a linguistics background. I was always very fearful. Am I going to be able to do this? And I think that what helped me overcome that is that I can be very, very calm in a very high stress situation. And I think honestly, that is my top key, is to be very calm in a panicked situation. That's definitely a key. Yeah.
Yeah. The same with me.
I'm still not very good at it, but to be when numbers come out, usually interpreters have a hard time with numbers. It's very important that you have a pen and paper, and when you listen to numbers, you have to stop interpreting, you know, a second, write down what you're hearing in your mother tongue, because you understand the number in your mother tongue, and you write down the number, and then you breathe, and then you say your numbers. Because if not, for some reason, we know that cognitively, you know, numbers and, you know, the two parts of our brain are very separate. Numbers are totally different than just linguistic speaking, right? So you have to cognitively decide that you're going to write down numbers. So that's very important. That's an important tip. Besides that, writing down words, you know, keeping a glossary of words that you've missed. Make sure you ask your booth partner if you have the opportunity to get like a lowdown, to get you know, how did I do? You know, do you have any opinions? And speak with your booth partner. You know, if you have the opportunity, you can't always do that, but it's good if you can.
Yeah. Okay, I have a couple of questions, but let's first answer these questions. You must definitely, Mike is my clone in all his answers. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like listening to Mike, and that's the same answers that I would have. Answers exactly. You must sound confident and secure, even if you are nervous. Yeah, that's true. That's a very important skill for the interpreter. What if I can't deal? Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say with that, because I'm still doing this. I don't do it all the time, but I've recording yourself, because I noticed that, and I've been told by other colleagues that this is a good thing, and I've started doing it and actually paying attention to the recording of myself afterwards, because I've noticed that in certain conditions, my speech is more staggered. It's not natural flowing. And I noticed that I'm like that when the content is more difficult. It's a cognitive overload.
Requires cognitive.
It will be much more choppy, and it's not as natural. So I have to consciously remind myself, okay, this is a conversation. Try to keep a nice, natural flow. And that you have to work that. But you only know that when you record yourself. So that's important.
That's true. That's very important. I also do record myself. Sometimes you have some, we call them like parasite words, the words that you use every now and then, but you don't actually notice that you use them, some short words, and some sounds like and some others, so you can get rid of them if you record yourself. You don't notice it yourself. What if I can't deal with my highly stressful situation? That's one of the biggest obstacles.
Okay, well, that definitely, you're going to have to find a method. You're going to have to find a coping mechanism. You're going to have to find a way to calm yourself down. It's a must. Absolutely. I don't know about other interpreters, but I found that this is the most important thing that has saved me in very high stress situations. I say it again, either prayer. For me, it's prayer. Reading my Bible, meditating on something before going into the booth, listening to calming music. You have to find something. I know some people that do yoga, that do meditation, that do prayer. Do whatever it takes to be in a peaceful state of mind, because if the stress is there, you won't be an effective interpreter, and you're going to lose out, and you're going to burn yourself out. That's what's going to happen. You're going to burn out before your time. So that's very important. Find a coping mechanism, definitely, about the stress. You have to.
Yeah, actually, one of the lives that I had, it was with the psychologist. We were discussing how can interpreters like calm themselves down right before when you're already sitting like in the setting of the meeting, for example, or in the booth, and you are very stressed, very nervous. Some interpreters can't even start speaking. They are so nervous. And we discussed that, first of all, drinking water, taking deep breaths, and maybe sometimes it should be a very long breath in, and then in even longer the breath out, like inhaling, and also you can imagine, like think about some good things. You can imagine the speakers of the person that makes you the most nervous. That can be one of the like directors of the company, CEO, or whatever, who is sitting. You can imagine them in some funny outwear or something. In some funny ways.
When you talk about breathing, we know that probably most everybody has heard of singers that when they speak, they stutter. There's many singers that have conquered stuttering because of breathing techniques. So breathing techniques are a very effective tool. We know that, I know that just for a speech therapy, they will tell children to take a deep breath, fill up your lungs, and then speak. So that will definitely help. Taking deep breaths will definitely help, because that is a speech therapy way of dealing with stuttering. So it's exactly like singing. I have an interpreter friend of mine that she's a singing teacher, and you'll even find on YouTube many videos describing speech exercises for people who have speech impediments. There's many out there. And it's something that can be overcome, and you could be quite victorious over it.
Yeah, cool. And what if sometimes, if it's a like consecutive setting and someone corrects you, someone from the side of the client, for example, or some from the organizers, and he corrects you while you do your consecutive, how do you react? How do you respond to that?
Very humbly. Take it, accept it, and say yes. Listen, I'll give you an example. Recently, this year, one of the assignments that I had in consecutive was a contract negotiation table. So you have the two parties. You have the union, and then you have the owners. They're sitting on a table. And in this case, I was hired by the company owners. They were American speaking, and the union was French Canadian. And some of the people on the union were bilingual enough to understand the terms. And you know what? I use it to my advantage, because I have the text of, usually in those type of negotiations, there's a counterbalance, a rebuttal. So everybody has the paperwork and you see it, right? So when certain terminology came up that I was not familiar with, because, we don't know everything. We're not a walking dictionary, right? So take the pressure off of yourself. You're not going to know everything. And you'll be surprised to find out that most clients are quite flexible in cueing you in on, oh, this is the word you mean. Use this instead.
Yeah.
Or if you don't know it, you just ask. You say, excuse me, I just want to make sure. Can you clear that up for me? Is this what you mean? Or if the opposite party corrects me, oh, thank you very much. I'll write it down. You know, put it in my glossary for the day. But be humble about it, because if you're arrogant, most likely, you know, you won't be called back. People don't like working with people like that. For myself, I'm a very easygoing type of person. I get along with everybody. I'm a very friendly type of person. So if somebody does correct me and I feel like, you know, a certain tension, I bring it down. I stay calm. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, ma'am. That duly noted. I'll write that down and try not to use it again. I'll have, let's say, in some of my other clients, they'll even come to me after a rendition during the break and they'll correct me. They'll say, well, you know, for this word, we actually use this. So, oh, I say, thank you so much. And then I'll actually say it in my next rendition. And then I'll say thank you to the person who, you know, corrected me on this. Depending on the environment, I can speak freely sometimes into the mic, right? And say, thank you very much. Here's the word, the new word that I'll be using. So definitely be humble and learn. It's a learning process every single day.
Yeah, fully agree with you. Yeah, don't hesitate to ask. I also, if especially it's a very narrow topic, very like specialized, and only people from this area know whatever terms they use, I will ask them. I will ask them, how do you call it in your environment, in your field? Yeah, and if it's not to official meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you can't, oftentimes, honestly, we can't have that conversation with speakers. Most of the time, honestly, I never get to meet the speakers. In this case, when I'm in a union negotiation, obviously I can, because I'm with the people, you know, face to face. So you can be more open. But a lot of times we don't get to speak to the speakers ahead of time. So we have to go with the material that they've given us or what we know. And if we don't, well, listen, I'll give you, in the very beginning of my career, when I was very young at it and my first times in the booth, I made some mistakes. And I actually, you know, I don't say this to everybody, but it's okay. I got kicked out of the booth once. And that that was the hardest day of my life. Okay, so listen to this, dear interpreters. If you get kicked out of the booth, it may happen, okay? And in this case, what happened was that I was so well prepared. I remember as if it was yesterday. I was so well prepared. I had all the text. I had done the translation work. And it just so happened that when my turn came up for my shift, I did not have the text for that one speaker because he did not provide his speech. And there was one word that I kept using. And to this day, I still remember the word. It was speech.
What is it?
Speech. In French, discours. And I just did not know or did not remember that speech was discours. So when he kept saying speech, I would use just the Anglophone word speech, which honestly everybody understands. In this part of the world, you know, between French and English, speech people would understand, okay? Or somebody just wrote discourse, okay? The discours. And I got kicked out of the booth because of that word, because I was using it too often. And it turned out that the speaker was actually the speech writer for one of the American presidents. I won't say who, but he was a speech writer. So his vocabulary was, he was a walking thesaurus. He was a walking dictionary. He was, his words were beautiful. His level of speech was just so high that I was not there. And the contractor who had subcontracted the company who hired me, I see my phone buzz on the counter, and they said, "Get out of the booth." So,
oh my God!
Yeah, I cried. I cried that day. I cried when I came out of the booth. I cried, and it was funny because the interpreter that replaced me for my shift for the rest of I had done the half of the day, and I got kicked out the second half of the day. And the interpreter that was called in to replace me was a woman. And this woman, I always had a hard time seeing her because I would see her on other assignments. And I was always ashamed.
That would remind
oh no, it's her again. And then one day at an interpreter, gathering, conference, networking, she was there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go speak to her. And it turns out that we had common friends, and we became good friends. After that, I learned to respect her, and she learned, and we had a great laugh because I told her this story, and we laughed our heads off about it. So it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to trip up. You might lose a client.
To overcome.
But after that only happened once in my life. So it's okay.
Good.
You learn.
Yeah, good to know for the other interpreters. It happens to everyone, Yelerin Khan says, I prefer speakers who speak fast. How about you? Well,
yes,
you as well.
Totally. I prefer fast speakers because I hate décalage.
We make daily mistakes at work. We are only human. Yeah, that's true. Right. That's the way it should be. True.
I can say something about this. So, because you were saying that was rude. You know what was rude? Listen to this. Booth partners that don't help out another booth partner. Now, listen to this. Young interpreters, especially, when you're in the booth, the give and take of booth partners it's a partnership. We're working together to bring the best rendition possible. And I learned this only later, that booth partners are supposed to help each other out. If you have a booth partner who just sits there, reads a book while you're on your shift, that is not the job of a booth partner. The booth partner is still supposed to be attentive to the speech that's going on. If he catches a word or a phrase, he's looking on his computer, he writes it on paper quickly, and he gives it to you. That's what a real booth partner does. And that day, that booth partner did not help me out. Had that booth partner slipped to me that one word, it might have saved me. So
he could have done it. He could have well done it.
That interpreter did not do that. It did not do that. And that's unfortunate because booth partners are supposed to be partners and helping each other. So learn to help your booth partner, because listen to this, what goes around comes around. If you are not kind with your booth partner, the next time you're going to need help, that booth partner, he is not going to help you. And you may very well be kicked out of the booth because you did not help him last time. So be careful. What goes around comes around. I advocate to always be the best booth partner possible, to be there to help people. This is an industry where we should be helping each other out, not digging each other's grave. That's very important.
The very nice words. Traumatic. If I get kicked out once, I will remember Mike's words. Oh yes, there are selfish interpreters. There are selfish interpreters. We can do anything with them. And is there something that annoys you with the partners? Like, for example, when they start, I don't know, eating an apple while you are doing your third or something.
Clicking your, like this.
Pen. Clicking your pen.
Like that. That's the worst. That's or if they're typing on their computer. Oh man, that's annoying. Another thing that's annoying is too much perfume, ladies.
Perfume. That's a good point, actually. Perfume.
If you're a smoker, make sure you bring gum. Try not to intoxicate your partner. Alcohol breath, it's not a good thing. Be prepared. I mean, I married an Italian wife. I love to eat garlic. I love garlic. I would have garlic every single night. But when I know that I'm going to be in the booth the next day, I don't eat garlic. Okay, I don't eat anything that's going to be highly potent in the booth. Maybe I could come back on there's one question: what to do for stress? I just remembered this. Some people use essential oils. Now they're reputed to be putting it on your temple, behind your ears, certain essential oils. I've never done that, but I've heard that it works to calm down some people. Sometimes they'll put it under their nose, lavender oil or different essential oils. So that can be something that can help. But perfume's a bad thing. Too much of it is not good.
Yeah, perfect. I also experienced that when my partner came with such a strong perfume. Yeah, I just couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it in the booth. Do you prefer when your partner, like now, when you're already experienced, you don't wait for like much support from your partner? Do you prefer when they come out of the booth while it's your turn, or do you prefer them actually sitting and
No, I don't mind
being
them
ready
being
to
there.
help
It's
you?
just that you know, when you asked me before the first hour, do I have my preferred booth partners? Let me tell you, that booth partner, I will never call on him. Never. He will never get a job from me. He will, because I get requests all the time. Who do you want to use as a booth partner? Well, I'm not going to use him. I'm not going to use her because they are not a help. The people that I invite in the booth are people that I like to have fun with, that are hard workers, that help each other. And that's so important. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. And I'm a very generous person. I give contracts to all kinds of people, and people give me contracts because what goes around comes around. And I believe that what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. So if you have a good attitude, most likely you'll get a good attitude in return. And that, my friend, pays.
Yeah, fully agree with you. Okay, are there any more questions from our followers? If not, I think we had a very nice discussion.
Yeah, it was
Very
very
useful.
nice.
Yeah, a lot of tricks for the beginning interpreters.
Yeah, so and maybe one more thing that I could say for tricks to help out. I love reading, and because I was not brought up in the linguistics, I like to read, you know, the Routledge collection, you know, reading books on linguistics, especially, obviously, I don't do translation, so I don't care about anything that has to do with translation, unfortunately. But I lift my heads off to you because I would not want to do that. It's a very time-consuming effort. What I like to do is blow in, blow up, blow out. That's my mantra in the booth, right? And then send my invoice. So it's in and out quick. And but I do read on I do like to read techniques and interpretation technique, which I should have learned had I been in the linguistics field and come out of university or with some degree. I probably would have known this stuff. But I am reading now, and I'm learning a lot of stuff. So you know, being an interpreter is an ongoing process of improving yourself, right? So if I can put my hands on materials that will help me become a better interpreter or better at anything for that matter, you should read. Yeah, so Roderick Jones or anything, any materials. You know, another thing is I'm on IG. IG is very fun. It's easygoing. You know, like here we're having a conversation. I have a lot of colleagues. There's a great community of interpreters and translators that follow the hashtag Hot Sauce Interpreters. That being said, I have an account on Twitter. On Twitter, there's much more resources. If you have a question about something, you can type it in, put a hashtag on it, and you'll most likely find an answer on it. Some colleague will answer you. So I don't use Twitter to write a lot of comments, but I use it to read and learn a lot. And actually, one of the last posts I put that thing about, you know, the Turkish English comparison, I found that off of Twitter originally. And because of that, I got into contact by LinkedIn with the author of that dissertation, and I am now in contact with the author of that dissertation because I have many interpreters on IG that are asking me about that. So it's making a lot of connections, and it's very interesting. And you'll see that on my
networking in action.
On my personal IG of Mike the Interpreter, I try to keep it professional. Everything that I post is either I'm in the booth, out of the booth, eating food in the booth, drinking coffee in the booth, posting books about material. I keep it very professional, and I like to share material from other people. And I'll always share using the reference of who I shared it from. And that makes a lot of connections. And because of that, I get a lot of respect from my colleagues because I respect other colleagues. And interpreters, it's a very secretive market. You know, especially on your side of the world, I find that interpreting has this intellectual level of I'm an interpreter. What are you? You know, and here in North America, that attitude is very different. And I like to be open about what I do. I'll share my references. I'll share my contacts. I'll share, information on rates. And I'll share information on, on anything. If you ask me the question, if I have an answer for it, I'll answer you. And if you don't want to ask me in public, write to me in my direct box here on Instagram or on LinkedIn or on Twitter. And if I have the answer, I'll answer you. If I don't, I'll try to find it. So I'm that type of person. And that's why I believe that hashtag Hot Sauce Interpreters has become so popular in less than a year, because it's such a friendly community. And that's what makes it beautiful.
That's such a cool idea, actually. Yeah, I want to thank you for inventing this Hot Sauce Interpreters hashtag and 1NT and book referrals as well. And that's very useful, I think, for many interpreters. And actually, you're bringing together the whole community of interpreters from the whole world. Yeah, you can meet different interpreters from different sides. And actually, with this remote interpreting now, we may have a chance to work together now, maybe in a relay setting or something from different interpreters from different parts. And that's so cool. Yeah.
Exactly.
In South America too, says Barbara. Yeah, in South America. Well, actually, we have very different attitudes to interpreters in our country. Some clients may think of interpreters like they're only like service providers. So we are the same like the ones who, I don't know, provide the catering services and other services. They don't think that we have some sort of, that we're distinguished or something. There is no prestige at all.
Like what we say here, a blue-collar worker as compared to a white-collar worker, right?
But some, especially like international organizations, they do appreciate our work and they do understand how hard it is, and they do appreciate us. But so it's very different. You never know where you'll be next time on your next task.
Exactly. I think also, especially with RSI right now, we have the opportunity of making a difference in the ears of our clients, because we get to speak them beforehand, right? And we get to explain to them, you should do this, or you should do that, or you should use this, or remember, to use a microphone. You remember to use a headset, not the microphone on a laptop computer. We get to give them tips on becoming better, even in their very own platform. Like Zoom, which is very popular right now. Compared to other, because of the price, right? But definitely, we can help our clients become better if we get a chance to speak with them. And with RSI right now, we have that opportunity. So please, don't be a shy interpreter. Be an interpreter who's willing to ask questions, who's willing to give tips, who's willing to share of yourself and of your time to make this profession better and to make it respected in the ears and the attitudes of our clients. Because we're not just a service provider, although we're linguist service providers, but we're very specialized. And once people get to know us and understand the craft, understanding the passion that we have, understanding that it is a very strict profession, it's very complex, in special ways, in different languages, we'll get that respect, right? And they'll understand why. How come you're so expensive? Well, you're expensive because there's not many of us. Not everybody can do this. So we've become an important commodity. And although RSI is leveling out the field and also bringing in younger interpreters with less experience, I know that the older interpreters, the more experienced interpreters don't like that. And it's a kind of taboo to admit it. But I believe that, at one point, somebody has to replace you, right? We need to be mentors in the life of people. I believe in mentorship. I believe in teaching things to others. If I'm good at something, I can teach you something. If you're good at something, teach me something. Let's share to become better at what we do and not make this industry so secretive, and keeping everything for yourself, and it's my clients, my tricks, my secrets. You don't trade secrets, right? I believe in North America, the trade secret attitude is not a very good one. Obviously, I'm not talking about proprietary, privileged information, and we all sign non-disclosure agreements. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about between interpreters. Let's be a help to each other. And anyways, honestly, my friends that have become close friends on Hot Sauce Interpreters, we exchange assignments, we exchange, gigs. give each other cues, insights. Sometimes these interpreters, they don't know their value. You could only know your value when you're with somebody who's better than you. So don't be shy of working with somebody who is better than you. You become better by training with better people, and you'll find out that maybe you're just asking for $100 an hour when you're worth $150 or $200 an hour. You know what I mean? This industry is very varied in the exchange, the monetary exchange, and sometimes agencies will use that against us and against you guys, the young interpreters. So you have to learn quickly, or else you'll have your clothes ripped off of you. If I could say, we have that expression, to have everything removed off your back and stripped naked because you don't know your worth. Know your worth, but know as well that if you are new at this, you have to go up the steps, right? From the Bible says, from going from glory to glory, getting better and better. So that's
great point. Again, fully agree with you. Everything you said today, I fully agree with you.
Amen.
That's good.
That's great.
We're in different parts of the world, but we have the same thinking, the same experience. That's cool. Well, Mike, I would like to thank you for this live. I think it was great, 2 hours, almost 2 hours.
Wow, amazing, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, you don't notice how the time flies. And I think all of the interpreters who will watch us afterwards in the recorded version will appreciate your recommendations, your tips, and just sharing your experience. I think it's very helpful and very sort of educative, I would call it. There is no such word in English, but that's my made-up word. So thank you very much, and
it's my pleasure.
I'll probably let you go and go have some sleep.
Just once again, for those who joined in last minute, follow the hashtag Hot Sauce Interpreters, follow the hashtag 1NT Book Referrals, and follow me on Instagram as Mike the Interpreter. Follow me on on LinkedIn as Mike Lemay the Interpreter. You could follow me on Facebook as Mike the Interpreter. I'm pretty much on all those social media, and on Twitter as Mike the Interpreter as well. So you could find me almost on all those platforms. I respond to all of them, and I love questions. Don't be shy, and I'll help you. If I have the answer, I'll help you out. So God bless you all. Take care. Be safe. Be healthy. Continue washing your hands.
Keep washing your hands. Very good. Okay, so bye. Thank you very much. And I'll put this video and put hashtag Hot Sauce Interpreters hashtag with it, so you can find it on this hashtag. Cool. Right. So bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to everyone who watched us, and you'll find this video soon on my IGTV. Hey.